I am trying something new today for today's stream. I'm gonna have some like background noise, so do let me know how it is. If it's too loud, I can try and adjust that. Everything, so do let me know how the background noise is and everything. So yeah, looking forward to playing Final Fantasy 14 today. What do I know of the game myself? I know that it's got like a job system. I've heard something about like player housing. I know you can play, I think, like a free trial all the way up to like level 70 for the base game or something like that before you have to buy anything. Well, I've dabbled in a few MMO light stuff, like Destiny's meant to be MMO light, but this is like probably my first full-on MMO. But I am curious to see what it's all about and that, so I guess we'll give this a go. I'm just gonna give me a few seconds to set stuff up and that. Alright, and... moment. Oh yeah, people might get fed up with this music, it's set to loop. Here we go. I guess this must be like lore or background stuff on the game. Final Fantasy 14 software license agreement. The following license agreement is binding legal agreement between Square Enix and you, and governs your use of the licensed software. At any time you do not agree to be bound by these terms and conditions, you must immediately cease using the licensed software. Ooh, I guess this is a bunch of lore. Let's get round to reading then. Stuff like that. Alright. Refund policy for US and Canada. Please contact your place of purchase for return, refund, or exchange subject to return and exchange policy of the retailer. If A, your place of purchase is unwilling to accept returns of an open software, and B, you have not accepted this agreement during the installation process, and C, you have not entered the registration code contained within the licensed software packaging, and D, it has been less than 30 days since you purchased the software, and E, you purchased your copy of licensed software in and are currently located in the United States or Canada. Then you may contact your region Square Enix affiliate and request a full refund of your purchase price for the licensed software, not including your taxes or shipping and handling charges. Please note that any refund is discretionary, will be contingent upon Square Enix's receipt of a copy of your receipt and the complete undamaged licensed software package and confirmation that the registration code contained inside has not been used. If you downloaded this licensed software from an authorized digital distributor, you need not send any physical package. Important notice. Where registration code is required to install the licensed software and or to any online multiplayer game, online or multiplayer game, this cannot be reduced or replaced. It is the responsibility of the original purchaser to keep this registration code secure, lost. Stolen or damaged registration codes cannot be replaced. This license agreement is effective and binding on all users of the licensed software. Terms in this license agreement supersede any conflicting terms contained in the software package or any previous version of this license agreement. The most current version of this license agreement is available to review online at https://www.finalfantasyxiv.com/rules-privacy. Your particular attention is drawn to the data ownership in section 2.3 and the limitation of liability provisions in article 4. By checking the box next to the statement, I accept the terms of the license agreement, or I accept the terms of the above agreements, you declare that you've read this license agreement, you understand the terms of this license agreement, and you agree to be bound by this license agreement on the behalf of yourself, and if you are a minor or on behalf of your parents or legal guardians, you do not agree to be bound by the terms of the license agreements, the license software will be not loaded onto your computer or game console as applicable. If you are already a subscriber, you'll be directed to a web page in which you will be instructed to cancel your game subscription, effective immediately upon completion. In this agreement, minor means you are aged between 13 and 17 for the regions of the American region and the EMEA region. 120 for Japanese region. Introduction. Oh boy, there is a lot of stuff to read here. I guess that's what you need when you've got 14 Final Fantasies to catch up on. The license agreement is between Square Enix and you, a licensee of the licensed software and all accompanying documentation. For all purposes of all your contractual relationships concerning the game, Square Enix refers to Square Enix affiliate, your geographic region, which you are first entering into this license agreement for so long as you use the licensed software. You are not entering into any contractual or other relationships with other Square Enix affiliates. As a result of your use of the licensed software or service under this license agreement, note, if Square Enix determines that you have intentionally provided improper information to Square Enix, such as that you are registered in the wrong region, Square Enix reserves the right to either A. Transfer your account to the proper region, subject to rules and agreements and fees for that region, or B. Terminate your account without recourse. A. For the American region, Square Enix means Square Enix Inc. You are in the American region, or if you're located in North America, South America, Central America, American Samoa, Guam, the United States minor outlying islands, the Caribbean excluding Cuba, Hong Kong, Singapore, or the EMEA region, Square Enix means Square Enix. One moment. I'm pretty sure there we go. The EMEA region, Square Enix means Square Enix Limited. If you are in the EMEA region, hang on. You are in the EMEA region. You are located in the Aran Islands, Albania, Algeria, Andorra, Angola, Australia, Austria, Bahrain, Bangladesh, Belarus, Belgium, Bhutan, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Botswana, the Bouvet Islands, the British Indian Ocean Territory, Brunei Darussalam, Bulgaria, Burundi, Cameroon, Central African Republic, Chad, Christmas Island, Cocos Keeling Island, Comoros, Congo and the Democratic Republic of Congo, the Cook Islands, Croatia, Cyprus, the Czech Republic, Denmark, Djibouti, Egypt, Equatorial Guinea, Eritrea, Estonia, Ethiopia, the Faroe Islands, Fiji, Finland, France, French Ghana, French Polynesia, the South Southern Territories, South Pacific, Gabon, Georgia, Germany, Gibraltar, Greece, Greenland, Guernsey, Holy See, Vatican City State, Hungary Islands, India, Ireland, the Isle of Man, Israel, Italy, Jersey, Jordan, Kazakhstan, Kenya, Kuwait, Kyrgyz, Latvia, Lesotho, Liechtenstein, Lithuania, Luxembourg, Macedonia, Madagascar, Laos, Maldives, Malta, Mauritania, Mauritius, Eote, Monaco, Mongolia, Montserrat, Morocco, Mozambique, Namibia, Nepal, Netherlands, New Caledonia, New Zealand, Norfolk Islands, Norway, Oman, Pakistan, Papua New Guinea, Poland, Portugal, Qatar, Reunion, Romania, the Russian Federation, St. Helena, Samoa, San Marino, Saudi Arabia, Serbia, Seychelles, Slovakia, Slovenia, South Africa, Spain, Swaziland, Sweden, Switzerland, Tajikistan, Tanzania, Timor-Leste, Palau, Tonga, Tunisia, Turkey, Turkmenistan, Ukraine, United Arab Emirates, United Kingdom, Yemen, Zambia. Oh, I'm sorry if I pronounced any of those wrong. For the Japanese region, Square Enix means Square Enix Co. Limited. You are in the Japanese region if you are located in Japan. For good and valuable consideration, the receipt officially of which is hereby acknowledged, you agree to the follows. Article 1. Definitions. User agreement means documentation 1.1. Means those under user manuals, specification documents, and other instructional materials related to the licensed software, whether written or electronic, that are provided by Square Enix or otherwise made available to users. 1.2 Game means the Final Fantasy XIV online program embodied in the licensed software provided to you. Hereunder, together with any additional features or functionality, such as online game, may be available to users of service license, including without limitation, patches, add-ons, expansion packs, and updates. 1.3 License Agreement means this Final Fantasy XIV software license agreement, which must be accepted by you or by your parent or legal guardian on your behalf if you are a minor, prior to any use of the licensed software. Licensed software means the Final Fantasy software as embodied on any one or more discs of the media provided by you, or is incorporated into one or more electronic fields provided to you. Together, any updates, additions, or modifications thereto to Square Enix may elect its sole discretion to provide or make available from time to time. User agreement means the Final Fantasy XIV user agreement, which must be accepted by you or your parent or legal guardian prior to the use of any service. Privacy policy means Square Enix's current online privacy policy for your region, which may be accessed at www.finalfantasyxiv.com. Within the service at any time, the terms of which are incorporated to the license agreement in full. 1.7 Registration code means all or any unique or non-transferable registration codes provided with the licensed software, which should be inputted during your installation progress in accordance with the instructor provided with the games. Service means the online entertainment service provided by Square Enix in conjunction with the game, which includes the various services incorporated therein or offered in connection therewith, including but not limited to online games. 1.9 Square Enix ID Agreement means the Square Enix account's terms of use. 1.10 User means the user of the service, subject to the requirement that the minor must use their expressed authorization of a parental legal guardian. The American region and the EMEA region, children under the age of 13 are not permitted to use the service at this time. In the Japan region, children under the age of 15 are not permitted to use the service at this time. Article 2 Grant of License. Oh, we're on to the second game now, I think. 2.1 License Grant. Contingent on your acceptance of the compliance with the terms of this license agreement and the user agreement, Square Enix hereby grants you the limited, personal, non-exclusive, non-transferable, revocable license during the term of this license agreement to install and use the licensed software only for your personal use, i.e., not for the use of a roommate or family member on your own computer or game console as applicable, and use the documentation solely in the connection with your use of the licensed software and not for any commercial purposes. This license does not include any grant of property rights to include you, the ownership of the licensed software. The license does not provide you with access and usage of the service unless you abide by all of its terms of this license agreement and user agreement, including any fees as set forth therein. 2.2 Term and Termination. This license agreement will commence when you indicate your acceptance of the terms and conditions and install the licensed software. Your rights under Section 2.1 will be immediately and automatically terminated upon your breach of any provision of this license agreement. The user agreement or the Square Enix ID agreement, any use of the game results in a permanent or temporary copy of the portions of software when made on computer or game console. In the event of termination, you must destroy all copies of the licensed software and all of its component parts, including any licensed software stored on the hard disk of any computer or game console. If you continue to use the licensed software after your right to do so has been terminated, you acknowledge that you are engaging in copyright infringement. 2.3 Ownership. Square Enix, and to the extent applicable its licensors, own and shall retain all right, title and interest in and to the service, the licensed software and all documentation. All be the sole owner of all and any and all data you generate through your use of the Square Enix service or licensed software, including but not limited to counts, character attributes, statistics, assets. Square Enix owns all computer codes, title, themes, objects, characters' names, animations, processes, likeness, musical compositions and recording, storylines, environments, buildings, artwork, sound, and other intellectual property contained within the licensed software and service. You receive only those limited rights to access and use the licensed software and all documentation set forth herein. Please read carefully. You do not want your own account or character, or have any property rights to your character or its virtual assets or data. You do not own your account yet. All of which within you are agreed and monetarily without value. You may not sell, rent, or reproduce any character or any virtual assets associated with such character within an account controlled by you for any commercial purposes. If you do so, this license is immediately terminated. The licensed software and the documentation are protected by the international copyright and trademark laws, and international treaties include trade secrets. Unauthorized reproduction or distribution of licensed software is subject to civil and criminal penalties. Square Enix, Final Fantasy, and FFXIV are registered trademarks or trademarks of Square Enix Co. Limited or Square Enix Holdings Co. Limited, and may not be reproduced, altered, or used in any way without the prior written consent of Square Enix. Restrictions. To the maximum extent permitted by law, you may not a. Modify, reverse engineer, decompile, hack, or dismantle the licensed software. B. Rent, lease, sublicense, distribute, or transmit the licensed software to any third party. 3. Rent, lease, sell, distribute, or transmit, or otherwise transfer your user or other account-related information of the service, including without limitation, a registration code and user identification purpose provided to you, or password information. D. Make a copy or otherwise reproduce the licensed software. E. Infringe any copyrights, trademark rights, or any other intellectual rights of Square Enix or its licensors. Or F. Use licensed software to provide a service, bureau, or time-sharing service, e.g. cyber cafes, or any other commercial purposes. The licensed software is for your personal use only and may not be copied, leased, or made available for other users. 2.5. Ownership of derivative works. You acknowledge and agree that any authorized or unauthorized derivative works of the licensed software and documentation are sole and exclusive property of Square Enix. To the furthest extent permissible in the relevant jurisdiction, you hereby irrevocably assign to Square Enix all rights for the Japanese region only, including those rights set forth in Articles 27 and 28 of Japanese Copyright Law Title, and interest in any and all such authorized or unauthorized derivative works of the licensed software created by you or on your behalf. Square Enix reserves its right, in its sole discretion, to request that any such derivative works possessed or is controlled by you to be delivered to Square Enix or be destroyed. Damn. I guess someone was angry in that chapter. 2.6. Patches and updates. Square Enix will deploy patches, updates, and modifications to the licensed software that must be installed for you to continue. Use licensed software, you must hereby consent to Square Enix deploying these without providing you notice in each instance. 2.7. The right to change or terminate the service. The service is provided by Square Enix for so long as Square Enix wishes to operate its service in sole discretion. The service may be modified, suspended, restricted, or terminated, or otherwise discontinued by Square Enix without liability to you. 2.8. Changes to the agreement. This wasn't what we agreed. Square Enix reserves the right at its sole discretion to change, modify, and add to, supplement, or delete any of the terms and conditions of this license agreement at any time. If any future changes to this license agreement are unacceptable to you, you may terminate this license agreement by uninstalling the software and destroying your copy. The installation and any use of Square Enix updates or modifications to licensed software of a service following the notice to these changes to this agreement will demonstrate your acceptance of any and all such changes. Article 3. Oh, we're on to the third one now. User responsibilities. 3.1. Service access. You are solely responsible for obtaining, maintaining, at your own expense, all equipment such as modems, computers, or video games consoles. Oh, pardon me. And communication services, including, without limitation, internet access necessary to the access of the service and use of licensed software. If ensuring such equipment and services are compatible with all requirements of the service and licensed software. Point 2. Personal information management. You understand that your use of the licensed software in connection with the service will require that you disclose Square Enix certain personally identifiable information. Such information is subject to Square Enix privacy policy, which contains important information on Square Enix collects and uses information from you. You understand that it is your sole responsibility to review the privacy policy from time to time for any changes or revisions thereto. Data submitted by you will be subject to the Japan privacy notice in the form of https://www.square-enix-games.com/ja_ip/documents/privacy if you are a resident in the Japan. The US privacy notice is in the form of https://www.square-enix-games.com/en_document/privacy. If you are a resident in the American region or general privacy policy in the form of http://www.square-enix.com/eu/en/privacy/ if you are a resident of the EMEA region respectively. 3.3 Indemnification. Never heard of that word before. Unless you are a resident of the United Kingdom, France, Germany, or Australia, the following provisions will apply. You will indemnify, defend, and hold Square Enix harmless against any or claims, suits, actions, expenses, attorney fees, and other legal fees cost arising from your use of the licensed software, whether alone or in connection with the service and relating to a breach of your provision of this license agreement or inaccuracy of any of your representations made in this agreement, or made in connection with your registration of any Square Enix products or services, b your violation or infringement of any proprietary or privacy rights of Square Enix, affiliates, or any third party, or c any third party claims arising out of or relating to your use of the licensed software, whether alone or in connection with the service. Article 4. Oh, 3 was short. Disclaimer and limitation of liability. 4.1. Limited warranty. Square Enix warrants the original purchase of the licensed software, the physical media contained into the licensed software, which includes any replacement physical media provided under this limited warranty, will be free from defects in the material, and the workmanship for a period of 90 days from the date purchase, the warranty period. Square Enix's entire liability and your exclusive remedy on this limited warranty shall be, at Square Enix options, repair or replacement without charge of the whole affected portion of any licensed software that proves to be defective in material or workmanship. During this warranty period, please see the documentation provided in the licensed software for more details. 4.2 Disclaimer. Unless you are a resident of the United Kingdom, France, or Germany, the following provisions will apply to you. You understand and acknowledge that your use of this licensed software alone, whether alone or in connection with the service, may result in unpredictable damage or loss to you, including without limitation, computer damage or unexpected results of loss of data, including characters and account loss. All products and services relating to this agreement, including or without limitation, limited software, licensed software, and the documentation provided as is without warranty of any kind of except as explicitly set forth therein. To the maximum extent permitted by law, Square Enix expressly declaims any and all other warranties express or implied regarding the licensed software and your use thereof, including but not limited to any implied warranties of merchantability, fitness for a particular purpose, or non-infringement. Square Enix makes no promise or other warranty that the licensed software will work properly with any peripheral device, including but not limited to memory cards, network adapters, and modems. Square Enix does not warrant the license of software. The licensed software will meet your expectations or requirements, or that the operation of the licensed software will be uninterrupted or error-free. The entire risk as to qualify for the performance of licensed software is with you. 4.3 Limitation of liability. A. Unless you are a resident of the United Kingdom, France, Germany, or Australia, the following provisions will apply. You are not entitled to receive damages from Square Enix for any claim arising out or relating to this agreement. Your use of a licensed software, whether alone or in connection with the service, or loss of data, or loss of access to the service, or to not any material or service provided by a third party in connection with your use of the licensed software. In addition, in no event will you be entitled to obtain an injunctive relief, or otherwise enjoin, restrain, or otherwise interfere with Square Enix, or with the distribution, operation, development, or performance of the licensed software of the game or any related products. B. The following subclause 4.3b shall only be for users in the American region. In no event shall Square Enix be liable to you or any other third party for damages whatsoever arising out of or relating to your use or inability to use the licensed software or service, including without limitation any special, indirect, incidental, or consequential damages, or damages for loss of data, loss of profits, or loss of business opportunities, regardless of legal theory on which such damages are sought, even if in advance of the possibility of such damages. Oh dear, I think I'm on the verge of it. Oh, that's a first. C. Unless you are a resident in France or Germany, the following provisions will apply without limiting sub B clause 4.3b above. In no event will Square Enix total liability arising out of or in connection with the agreement or with any products or services provided hereunder exceed the highest amount paid by you in a single month to Square Enix as your subscription fee for the use of the services and or any related products services including without limitation to the licensed software. Oh, sorry about that sneeze. D. Unless you are a resident in the Japan region, the following provisions will not apply. Nothing in this license agreement shall limit or exclude Square Enix liability to users in the European Union for negligence, for death, or personal injury, to the extent such an exclusion or limitation is unlawful, unenforceable, or void under any applicable law. E. Certain jurisdictions do not permit the warranty disclaimers or limitations on liability set forth in this clause 4.3. Nothing in this clause 4.3 shall affect your statutory rights, which may vary from jurisdiction to jurisdiction. 4.4. Consent to disclosure. In order to protect Square Enix staff and customers, Square Enix may cooperate with the government law enforcement with or without the receipt of a formal subpoena or search warrant. You acknowledge and consent that Square Enix may provide your electronic communication and data, including emails and chat logs, to such government authorities without any liability to you or a third party. Article 5. Oh, we're on the 5th game now. I wonder when we get to 7. I heard everyone likes 7. General terms. 5.1. Informal dispute resolution. Unless you are a resident in the Japan region, the following provisions will apply. It's Square Enix's goal to informally resolve legitimate consumer disputes without the resort to formal litigation. Therefore, prior to filing any formal legal action against Square Enix, you agree to make good faith and attempts to informally resolve your grievances by sending a detailed letter with currently contractual information by registered mail or overnight delivery to Square Enix's office in your region. You agree to allow Square Enix 30 days to contact you to attempt to resolve any dispute. If you file a formal legal action without abiding by Section 5.1 and the action is successful, you agree that you will be responsible for Square Enix cost and reasonable attorney fees incurred as a result of unsuccessful action. The addresses are as follow. A. American Region. Square Enix Inn, 999 North Pacific Coast Highway, 3rd floor, El Segundo, California, 90245 USA. Attention, Legal Department. B. The EMEA Region, Square Enix Limited Company, number 01804186, Wimbledon Bridge House, 1 Hatfield Road, Wimbledon, London, SW19, 3RU, United Kingdom. Attention, Legal Department. Oh, someone in chat saying they're partial to Final Fantasy 12. Is that the other online one? F.5.2. Governing law and jurisdiction. For American region users, the license agreement and any related disputes or claims, contractual or non-contractual, shall be governed and construed in accordance with California law, without reference to the rule regarding conflicts of law unless the statutory laws of jurisdiction outside North American law. It requires local law to apply. Each of the parties hereby irrevocably submits and consents to the sole and exclusive jurisdiction of the courts of the state of California and of the United States of America located in the country of Los Angeles for any action, suit, or proceeding arising out of relating to this license agreement of the licensed software. Oh, 11's the other online one. Close enough. B. For the EMEA region users, this license agreement and any related disputes, claims, contractual or non-contractual, shall be governed and construed in accordance with English law. Ah, is 12 the one that quote-unquote plays itself? This licensing agreement relates any disputes, claims, or non-contractual shall be governed by the construed in accordance with English law. Each party irrevocably submits for all purposes in connection with the licensing agreements, includes any such dispute or claim to the exclusive jurisdiction of the English courts, any action, suit, or proceeding arising out relating to this licensing agreements or licensed software, except that nothing in this licensing agreement shall permit Square Enix Limited's rights to bring any action against any party in any other course of competent jurisdiction, nor shall it bring of such action in one or more jurisdictions prelude to the bringing of any other such actions for any other jurisdictions whether currently or not, to the extent permitted by law such of the other jurisdiction. For Japan region users, this license agreement shall be governed and construed in accordance with the laws of Japan. Without reference to its rules regarding conflicts of law, each party hereby irrevocably submits and consents to the sole exclusive jurisdiction of the courts of the Tokyo District Courts of Japan for the first instance of any suit or proceeding arising out of the relating license agreements or licensed software. 5.3 Severability. If in any sentence or any provision of this license agreement is determined by any court or competent jurisdiction to be invalid or unenforceable, such that a sentence or provision will be interpreted to the maximum extent to which it is valid and enforceable, is all determined by such courts in such sections, and the remaining sentences, provisions, such agreements will be nevertheless continue in full force and effect without being impaired or invalidated in any way. 5.4 No waiver. No waiver by Square Enix of any term, provision, or condition of this license agreement, whether by conduct or otherwise, in any one or more instances, shall be deemed to be or be construed as further or continuing waiver of any such term, provision, or condition, or as waiver of any other term, provision, condition of this license agreement. No Square Enix customer service representative or any other personnel of Square Enix who interacts with you is legally empowered to bind Square Enix to any amendment or waiver of the terms license agreement. 5.5 Entire agreement. This license agreement, together with the user agreement, the Square Enix ID agreement, the privacy policy, and any other terms of use relevant to your use of the license software, must use your entire understanding and agreement between the parties with respect to your use of the licensed software, and supersedes any and all prior contemporaneous oral or written communications with respect to the subject matter hereof, all of which are merged herein. This license agreement shall form a part of your user agreement and is expressly incorporated into that agreement by reference. In the event of any conflict between this agreement and the user agreement, the terms of the user agreement shall prevail, provided, however, for that all matters that all are not covered in this agreement in the terms of the user agreement, Square Enix ID agreement, or the privacy policy as applicable shall continue to apply. 5.6 International Law. The United Nations Convention on Contracts for International Sale of Goods shall not apply to this license agreement. Ooh, the big boys that do nothing. For Article 6, the following provisions shall apply to the American region only. 6.1 The US government restricts rights. The US licensed software is provided with restricted rights if this software is licensed by or for any unit or agency of the United States government, and this software is classified as a commercial computer software, as that term is defined by the applicable provisions of the Federal Acquisitions Regulations and Supplements, the FAR, including the Department of Defense, the DoD. FAR supplements the DFARS. This software was developed exclusively at private expense, and no part of this software was first produced in the performance of the United States government contracts. This software is supplied for use by the DoD. This software is delivered subjects to the term of agreements is either A, in accordance with the DFARS 227.7202-1, A, and 227.7202-3, A, or 2, with restricted rights in accordance with DFARS 252.227-7013C as applicable. If this software is supplied for use by a federal agency other than the DoD, this software is restricted computer software delivered subject to the terms of the agreement and is I. FAR 12.212 colon 2 bar F2 52.227-19 semicolon or 3 FAR 52.227-14 as applicable. You agree that the licensed software will not be shipped, transferred, or exported into any country or used in any manner prohibited by the United States Export Administration Act or any other export laws, restrictions, or regulations, collectively the export laws. In addition, if the licensed software is identified as an export-controlled item under the export laws, you can represent and warrant that you are not a citizen or otherwise located within an embargoed nation, including, without limitation, Cuba, Iran, Iraq, Libya, North Korea, Sudan, Syria, and that you are otherwise prohibited under the export law from receiving software. Ooh. I hope you guys love law. Let's continue. Oh. Right, I can't do this bit here. I'm gonna have to just turn this display off for a moment. Wanna know something, guys? I think I forgot this stuff already. Give me a moment, I'll be back. Yeah, that law was very weirdly, not much magic was in that law. I signed up for this a while ago and I forgot what I used as my sign-up email. Give me a second, guys. Ah, there we go. Give me a moment. I've already forgot my password, guys. Give me a moment. Oh. Hey, thanks for following, Wabu. I swear I'll remember my password for this. Good on me, isn't it? Immediately forgetting my password for this game. Is there anything that you guys want to ask me in the chat while I go through this hullabaloo? I even forgot my own email account at this rate. Oh, that's the correct email address. Maybe I have to register for one. Guys. Oh, wrong thing. Guys. Got more law. Square Enix account terms of use and our privacy policy. Privacy notice. Square Enix Limited collects personal information when you use any of our websites. In particular, we may use your information to administer to your account and provide the services requested to monitor your usage of our services to maintain records, and if you agree to send your marketing information, we will not share your information for marketing purposes with third parties without your permission. For further details on how we use your information or how to contact us about such use, please see our privacy policy. Please tick and check the box below to indicate your consent that we may process your information in accordance with our privacy policy. Square Enix accounts terms use of service. Oop, one moment. I need to be able to see chat again. Square Enix accounts terms of use. Please read this agreement carefully, including the privacy policy referred in clause 1 below. In particular, your attention is drawn to the limitation of liability contained in clause 3 and clause 9 below. In this agreement, with respect to your use of the website and its online services included without limitation online and multiplayer functionality within any game published by a member of the Square Enix Group, this website is provided and operated by Square Enix Limited, a company registered in England and Wales with the company number 01804186, VAT registration number 680988478, and registered office address 240 Blackfriars Road, London, SE1 8NW, England. Square Enix, or we or us, certain areas of this website are provided and operated by the affiliates of Square Enix, including, not limited to, Square Enix Co. Limited, and Square Enix, including collectively Square Enix Group, either using the online services provided on Square Enix on the website, including without limitation to the Crystal system. Services you agreed to be bound by this agreement, whether or not registered as a registered user, and used in this agreement by you or your referred to you, and registered user refers to you if satisfied all requirements to become registered. In addition, I've lost where I am. When using the services, you will be subject to any posted guidelines or rules applicable to such services. Collecting the guidelines, such as all guidelines or rules, are hereby incorporated by references into the agreement. By continuing to access or use this website or any service on this website, you signify your irrevocable acceptance of the terms and conditions. Cooperation to access the website and services is conditional on your continued compliance with the agreement, and any access in violation of this agreement is unauthorized. Oh, this is a beefy chunk of law, it seems, chat. One, registered users. Use of the website or services is limited to those satisfying the following conditions. A. You, whether an individual or legal entity, have completed Square Enix's registration procedures and agreed to be bound by the terms and conditions of this agreement and any other guidelines, rules and policies set by Square Enix that you are required to accept when using the website, including without limitation our privacy policy located at http://eu.squareenix.com/en/documents/privacy. Privacy policy. You're required to set the terms of the privacy policy in order to use the website and/or the services. If you do not accept the terms of the privacy policy or the terms of this agreement, please discontinue your use of the website or any services immediately. If there are any discrepancies between this agreement and any other guidelines of this agreement, as incorporates the privacy policy, will precede any other guidelines. B. You represent and warrant that all registration information is truthful, accurate, and that you will maintain the accuracy of such information. B. You are at least 13 years old. If you are a minor, i.e. under the age of 18, you have obtained your parents' permission to use the services, and your parents or guardians also reviewed and agreed this agreement. D. You are not barred from receiving the services under the laws of the United Kingdom or any other applicable jurisdiction, such as the jurisdiction in which you live, or if you are a business entity, the jurisdiction in which your business is incorporated or organised or conducts business. E. You understand and agree that you are responsible for having all telephone, modem, internet connections, intranet connections, extranet connections, or of equipment / or software necessary to access the website services and the cost of such equipment, telephone connection software, and use thereof, including without limitation any applicable taxes. Missing Final Fantasy? I must have missed Final Fantasy FF13 on this. F. You represent and warrant that you will not use the website or services in any manner that is in violation of this agreement or any applicable law or regulations. You agree that your Square Enix account is non-transferable and therefore may not be transferred to or used by anyone other than you. 2. Square Enix ID and password. The registered users will be solely responsible for the use and maintenance of his or hers Square Enix ID and password, which will provide the registered user with access to a Square Enix account. The registered user agrees to keep the Square Enix account information updated, current and secure. Changes to account information may be made here. You may not sub-license, transfer, sell, or assign your Square Enix ID or password to a third party, or allow a third party to use your Square Enix ID or Square Enix account in any manner. Any use of the registered user's Square Enix ID and password, even in the event of a third party uses such Square Enix password and ID, once considered made by the registered user, and he/she will be liable for all charges and costs incurred. Regardless of registered users' lack of negligence or willfulness, Square Enix will not be liable for any damages caused by a third party's use of the registered user's Square Enix ID and password. If the registered user has reason to believe that his or her Square Enix account is no longer secure, in the event of a loss, theft, or unauthorized disclosure of use of his or her Square Enix ID or password stored on the services, the registered user may promptly notify Square Enix of the problem at https://support.eu square-enix.com/main.php !LA equals 2 and &ID equals 612. B. Security token. Registered users may choose to use the security token services provided by Square Enix. For the account verification, a security token is a security device used to give authorized users secure access to the website and/or services. The security token, if a registered user chooses to use a security token service, such will be used governed by this agreement and included in the services provided by Square Enix for such registered users. In the event that you use a security token along with a Square Enix ID in order to access the Square Enix services, including but not limited to Play Online registered, CIS registered, and Final Fantasy registered XIV, the following conditions apply. You agree to the terms and conditions set by this agreement and any other applicable agreement or guidelines provided. 2. You agree that if there is any discrepancies in the scope of Square Enix liabilities, terms and conditions set by any other agreements or guidelines, and this agreement, Article 8 disclaimer of warranties, Article 9 limited liability of this agreement shall take precedent. 3. Krista registered system. Following policies govern the Krista system offered by Square Enix to its users in the European Union. If you live outside the European Union, the Krista system may be available to you pursuant up to the policies of Square Enix Co. Limited or Square Enix Inc., depending on where you're located. A. Introduction to Krista and the Krista system. The Krista system refers to an internet-based system operated by Square Enix for license distribution, storage, and redemption of Krista. Kristas are virtual credits that may be redeemed by registered users or for certain products and online services offered by Square Enix direct or by outlets provided by Square Enix in its sole discretion. Registered users are not required to use the Kristas to access any of Square Enix products and online services. It is a registered user's choice whether or not they wish to use Krista. Access and use of Krista is issued by Square Enix Limited and currently limited to registered users located within the European Union. B. Krista are merely licensed virtual goods and have no monetary value. Krista represents a limited, revocable license to obtain certain services and/or goods offered by Square Enix. Krista have no monetary value, and registered users do not have personal property rights in Krista. Therefore, Krista may not be traded for cash, currency, or any form of property, license, or rights except for the products and services that Square Enix choose to offer registered users in its sole discretion. Registered users may not transfer Krista to any other person or entity or receive Kristas from any other person or entity for any reason. Please note, Square Enix may utilize technology to determine whether a registered user has attempted to transfer Square Enix ID to another person in order to attempt an unauthorized transfer of Krista. And you hereby consent in advance to our doing so. For further information on the use of tracking technologies and how we store and process such data, please refer to our privacy policy at http://eu.square-enix.com/en/documents/privacy. Oh, I'm gonna run out of water here. C. Adding Krista to a Square Enix account. Registered users may add Krista to their Square Enix accounts by using a Square Enix approved payment method, and each Krista will be considered delivered to the registered user on the day that the Kristas are credited to the Square Enix account. Registered users must be authorized to use the payment method chosen, and in the case of minor using credit or debit card of a parent or guardian, must have express permission to use the payment method. The current prices of Krista will be available at http://eu.square-enix.com/e/se-account/Krista/charge. And the prices quoted will be inclusive of VAT or any other sales tax payable in the relevant territory in the European Union where the Krista is purchased. Registered users are responsible for the payment of any charges, excluding VAT/sale tax, which are included in the purchase of the price of Krista, in relation to the purchase and redemption of Krista. D. Krista gift cards. We are barely a quarter away through this. Square Enix may distribute Krista gift cards or points cards in some territories. A registered user may redeem a Krista gift card or points card in exchange for Kristas. Once a unique code on a Krista gift card is inputted into the Krista system, and the appropriate amount of Krista has been added to a Square Enix account, the registered user has received all value represented by the gift card, i.e., the registered user has a license to use a certain number of Krista. The Krista gift card has no remaining value. E. Square Enix account limits. In order to protect registered users' security and to deter fraud, Square Enix may impose limits on the amount of Kristas that each registered license transaction per month. Square Enix may also limit the amount of Krista that each registered user may hold in a Square Enix account. At any one time, registered users may not set up multiple Square Enix accounts in order to evade these limitations. Doing so may be grounds for termination. F. The use of Krista. Registered users may redeem Krista for a certain product and or online services offered directly to the public by Square Enix. Square Enix reserves the right to adjust the amount of Krista due to each product and online services at the time. It is sole discretion. In its sole discretion. Once redeemed, Krista will be deducted from a registered user's Square Enix account balance and cannot be used again. Registered users will have the opportunity to identify and correct any input errors prior to placing an order for Krista, and before the transaction has been completed. Without prejudice to a registered user's statutory rights, which shall remain unaffected. A registered user has no right to reserve a transaction once it is completed, however. If Square Enix determines that an incorrect price in Krista is identified for a product or online service, it reserves the right to reverse or nullify any such transaction. Rights of withdrawal and no cash refunds. You have the right to withdraw from any transaction made online for the purchase of Krista within any statutory time limits established by law within the relevant jurisdiction, where the purchase was made before Square Enix credits Krista to your Square Enix account. By completing an online transaction in order to add Krista to your account, you consent to Square Enix immediately adding the Krista to your Square Enix account for your immediate use, and understand and accept that once Square Enix has added the order of Krista to your Square Enix account, you can no longer cancel the order, without prejudice to your statutory rights as a consumer to refund in case of defective or misdescribed products being added. Registered users have no rights to receive a cash refund for unused Krista. Square Enix will make available products and online services at various price points. The registered users will have opportunity to use any remaining Krista balances while the Krista system is available. Notwithstanding the foregoing, Square Enix will recredit your account in the event that Krista is lost due to any Krista system malfunctions. To request a refund in accordance with your statutory rights as a consumer, please contact http://support.eu/contacttop./ID=612&LA=2. If a third party obtains access to a Square Enix account by the use of a registered user's Square Enix ID and password, the registered user must notify Square Enix immediately in order to be eligible for any possible remedial actions by Square Enix. Square Enix will promptly investigate the claim of a compromised Square Enix account, and in its sole discretion may add some Krista to the balance if the third party depleted the Square Enix account without authorization. Square Enix will not add Krista if the registered user did not take appropriate steps to protect Square Enix ID and password from third parties, including members of the household. Expiration of Krista and termination of the Krista system. Krista purchased by the registered user, if unused, will expire 24 months after the date the relevant Krista was credited to the registered user's account. Registered users will be provided with a reasonable notice by email to the email address you provided to Square Enix. On registration for your Square Enix account that such unused Krista is about to expire, so they are given opportunity to use any unused Krista before the actual expiry date. Notwithstanding the foregoing, Krista that is given to a registered user for free as a result of promotion, gift, award, or other offer by SEE, gift Krista, may expire at whatever date is given by SEE in connection with the relevant promotion, gift, award, or offer. Such expiry date shall be at least 14 days from the date that the gift Krista was given to the registered user. 1. Improper acquisition and usage of Krista. Registered users agree that Square Enix has the absolute right to manage and regulate the Krista system in its sole discretion. If Square Enix can show any fraudulent, abusive, or unlawful activity with respect to the registered user Krista's balance, then Square Enix may reduce or liquidate the registered user's Crystal balance, or deactivate, suspend, or terminate access thereto. Square Enix accidentally credits a Krista balance inappropriately, Square Enix reserves the right to remove Krista from the Square Enix account at any time. If a registered user believes Square Enix has accidentally deducted Krista from a Square Enix account or has not properly credited a Square Enix account, the registered user may notify Square Enix as soon as practical so that the investigation may occur. If a registered user notifies Square Enix that the registered user contests a decision by Square Enix in regard to Square Enix account, Square Enix will use reasonable efforts to investigate Krista balances that are reduced and Square Enix accounts that are suspended or terminated. J. Termination of a Square Enix account. If a registered user is A. banned for the violation of agreement, or B. voluntarily terminates the user agreement, registered user Square Enix account, Square Enix reserves the right to delete Square Enix accounts and all Krista permanently, without liability to the registered user except as required by law. K. Changes to the Krista system. Square Enix reserves the right to change the way that the Krista system operates, or to terminate the Krista system altogether. At any time, it is in its sole discretion. In the event that Square Enix chooses to terminate the Krista system, you shall be given a reasonable notice by email to the email address you provided to Square Enix on the registration for your account. To redeem any used Krista held by you in your Square Enix account for the products and services offered by Square Enix, the foregoing rights will be subject to and do not affect your statutory rights as a consumer. L. Krista and Virtual Goods Waiver. By acceptance of this agreement or use of the Krista system, registered users agree to the extent permitted by law not to assert or bring any claim or suit against Square Enix, affiliates, its back-end service provider, or their employees arising out of or related to the Krista or the Krista system, or which is based on a theory that registered users own a Krista or any virtual goods in the game service offered by Square Enix's affiliates. M. Square Enix Limited will be the sole issuing authority for the Krista in the European Union, and the Krista purchased from Square Enix Limited may only be redeemed by registered users for the purchase of the product. And/or online services offered by Square Enix Limited at the following URL: http://eu.square-enix.com/en. N. If you want to make a complaint about any aspect of the Krista service, please write to Square Enix Limited at its registered office's address, 240 Blackfriars Road, London, SE 8NW, England, marked for the attention of the legal department. If you require technical or customer support assistance when purchasing Krista or using the Krista service, please contact http://support.eu/enix.com/contact top.ph?ID equals 612 &LA equals. Cancellation or termination. Upon termination by you or upon a notice termination by Square Enix, you must immediately cease all use of the service. A. Cancellation by you. You may cancel your registration to the service at any time by providing the information to Square Enix and the following procedures here. Upon Square Enix receipt of your cancellation request, include the necessary and complete information required by Square Enix. The Square Enix account will be terminated within a reasonable time period. Upon cancellation, your registration, any information in the Square Enix account will be deleted and may not be recoverable. However, Square Enix reserves to maintain the right to your account information for our records below for a reasonable time period. Damn, talk about... I know there's a job system in this game, but it's feeling like a job getting through this. B. Termination by Square Enix. Square Enix reserves the right, in its sole discretion, to reject, refuse to post or remove any postings including email by you, or restrict, suspend or terminate your access to all or any part of the website or services at any time, or to terminate your registration for any or no reason without prejudice to your statutory rights. As a consumer, registered users may automatically lose access to their Square Enix account without the prior notification if Square Enix determines the registered user has 1. Been inactive for over 1 year, their Krista account is at zero balance and the deactivation is permitted by law. 2. Failed to pay applicable fees or charges. Or 3. Engaged in any of the prohibited uses outlined below. In such cases, 3. Square Enix may also deny registered users future use of the website services at its sole discretion, and Square Enix is not obliged to accept any claim for repayment or refund of all or any proportion fees previously paid, or any claim for redemption of Casa Krista as a result of any such termination. Foregoing rights will be subject and do not affect your statutory rights as a customer. Oh, the good stuff, prohibited uses. Everyone likes a bit of forbidden magic and stuff like that. The following acts or content are prohibited. If you engage in such acts or post a link to such content, you violate any of the Square Enix agreements that you have accepted, or third-party payment methods agreements related to the Krista system or on terms that you have accepted. Square Enix may terminate your Square Enix account and usage of the website and all services without notice. Square Enix may also take lesser measures in its sole discretion and subject to your statutory rights as a consumer. You agree not to use the website services to 1. Upload, post, link, 2. Email or otherwise transmit content that is 1. Unlawful, harmful, threatening, abusive, harassing, torturous, defamatory, vulgar, obscene, libelous, invasive to another's privacy, hateful, or racially, ethnically, or otherwise objectionable. 2. You do not have the right to transmit under any law or any under contractual or fiduciary relationship, such as inside information, proprietary confidential information learned or disclosed as part of the employment relationship or under non-disclosure agreements. 3. Infringe any patents, trademarks, trade secrets, copyrights, or other proprietary rights of any party. Or 4. Contain software viruses or any other computer code, file, or programs designed to interrupt, destroy, or limit the function in any computer software or hardware or telecommunication subscription. 2. Harm Square Enix or a third party in any way. 3. Impersonate any actual person or entity falsely state or otherwise misrepresent your affiliation with a person or entity. 4. Disrupt the normal flow of dialogue to cause the screen to scroll faster than other users of the term of service are able to type. Or otherwise act in a manner that negatively affects other users' ability to engage in real-time exchanges. 5. Interfere, disrupt the website or services or servers or networks connected to the website or services, or disobey any requirements, procedures, policies, or regulations of networks connected to the website services. 6. Intentionally or unintentionally violate any applicable local, state, national, or international law. 7. This is what everyone keeps going on about. Stalk or otherwise harass or collect personal store personal data about other users. 8. Cause an unreasonable or disproportionately large load on the website infrastructure or access the website by any means other than through the interface that is provided by Square Enix. 9. Attempt to access the area of the website or services to which the access is not authorized. Square Enix can detect unauthorized use of the systems through live log files analysis and will ban any future uses by the offenders. 10. Isn't that the one where the guy does the weird laugh? You know, the ha 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 ha. Use, transfer, distribute, or dispose any information contained in the website or services in any manner that does or could compete with the business of Square Enix. 11. Engage in or instigate any illegal activities. 12. Decompile, reverse engineer, disassemble, rent, lease, loan, sell, sublicense, or create derivative works from the website or content as defined below. 13. Use any network monitoring or discovery software to determine the website's architecture or to extract information about usage or users. 14. Ooh, spoilers. Use any robots, spiders, or other automatic devices or manual process to monitor or copy the website's content without Square Enix prior written permission. 15. Copy, modify, reproduce, republish, distribute, display, translate, or transmit for commercial, non-profit, or public purposes all or any portion of the website except when and to the extent that Square Enix provides written permission. 16. Use or otherwise export or re-export the website or any portion thereof, the content of any software available on or through the website in violation of the export control laws or regulations in any part of your opinion. 17. Ooh, they're spoiling the next game here. Use any of the marks, e.g. Square Enix trademarks, trade names, or service marks, or those Square Enix licenses without Square Enix's prior written consent, nor use such marks in any matters which creates the impression that such marks belongs to, are associated with you, or are used with consent, and you acknowledge that you have no ownership rights to any marks. Square Enix cannot and does not assure that the other users or registered users are or will comply with the agreement and or any other guidelines, is not responsible for any damages or losses caused by other users or registered users. Damn, got an insight to the next game there. Bro, we're halfway through, Jesus Christ. 6. Modifications. Subject always to your rights to receive a refund for any unused Crystal credits to your Square Enix account. On the happening any events that are set in the Clause 6, Square Enix, in its sole discretion without notice A, may revise this agreement, B. Modify the website or all the services, or C. Discontinue the website and or services at any time. Square Enix will post any revisions to this agreement to the website, and the revisions will be effective immediately on such posting. You agree to review this agreement and other online guidelines posted on the website periodically. To be aware of any revisions. You agree by continuing to use or access the website. Following the notice of any revisions, you will abide by any such revisions. Square Enix will not be liable for any damages, losses, or related to the modifications, cancellation, or termination of this agreement. The website and all such services other than to the credit the user's registered user Square Enix account with the value of any used Krista. Hang on. I must be seeing stuff. 7. Your use of the website services is also governed by the privacy policy. http://e.square-enix.com/en/document/privacy. By using the website services, you consent to the terms of our privacy policy and to Square Enix processing of personal information for the purposes contained in our privacy policy. B. Personal information collected in order for you to become a registered user of the website, receive email communications from us, participate in contests and competitions, and access certain paid services, require that you provide us with certain information that identifies you. Personal information. Personal information includes the following categories of information. 1. Contact data, such as your name, posting mailing address, email address. 2. Demographic data, such as your postcode and age. And 3. Profile data, such as personal interests. You can communicate with us by email, post messages to any of our user groups, bulletin board forums, or blogs, or otherwise complete online forums, surveys, or contest entries. Any information you provide, including your preferences, biological information, photo, artwork, or other material, may be collected as personal information. To ensure that Square Enix provides a high quality of experience for you and others, to Ensure Square Enix provides a high-quality experience for you and for others, users of the website and services. You agree that Square Enix representatives may access your Square Enix accounts and record on a case-by-case basis to investigate complaints or allegations of abuse, infringements of third-party rights, or unauthorized uses of websites and services. You further consent to Square Enix's uses of Square Enix IDs, usernames, handle names, and/or characters in press releases, promotional and marketing materials, and/or on our websites. Disclaimer of warranties. To the fullest extent permitted by law and except for the express warranty provided in this agreement, Square Enix and its affiliates hereby disclaim that all other warranties, conditions, or terms expressed or implied, statutory or otherwise concerning the website and services provided by Square Enix Group. Square Enix is making the website available as is, without warranty of any kind. You assume the risk of any and all damage of loss from use of or inability to use the website or the services, including without limitation or damage to your computer, hardware, data, or software. The maximum extent permitted by law, Square Enix expressly disclaims any and all warranties, conditions, or terms expressed implied regarding the website and services, including but not limited to any implied warranties, conditions, or terms merchantability, fitness for a particular purpose, or non-infringement of a third-party intellectual property and other rights. Without prejudice to the generality of the foregoing, Square Enix does not warrant that the website or services will meet your requirements, or the operations of the website and services will be interrupted or error-free. Square Enix further does not warrant that the website and/or services will operate on all types of computers. 9. Limited liability. In the respect of each service or other items of goods purchases by you via the website, you can recover from Square Enix, its parent, subsidiary, and affiliate companies, Square Enix parties, only damages which are foreseeable consequences of a breach of this agreement by Square Enix, up to an amount equal to the maximum amount paid by you in any billing cycle. As such terms is defined in the user's agreement for the relevant game, the individual service or good purchase in each case, Square Enix parties are not responsible for the indirect or so-called consequential losses which happen, the side effect of the main loss or damage of which are not foreseeable by you and us, including but not limited to a loss of income or revenue, b. loss of business, c. loss of profits or contracts, d. a loss of anticipated savings, e. a loss of opportunity, f. a loss of data, notwithstanding anything to the contrary contained in this clause 9 or anywhere else in the user's agreement. Nothing in this agreement shall exclude or be restricted Square Enix liability for death or personal injury resulting from the party negligence, or any other liability which cannot be excluded or restricted by law. Some jurisdictions do not permit the warranty disclaimer or limitations on the liability set forth in Clause 8, and this Clause 9, nothing in Clause 8, and this Clause 9, shall affect your statutory rights on consumer, which may vary from jurisdiction to jurisdiction. Indemnity. You agree to pay and reimburse in full for the amounts of all costs, fees, expenses, damages, penalties, liabilities, and all other losses in which Square Enix and its parent subsidiaries, affiliates, partners, officers, and employees incur or suffer due to your usage of the website services in the breach of this agreement, and/or arising out of the content you submit, post, link, transmit, or make available through the services in the breach of this agreement, your violation of this agreement, or your violation of any rights of another user. 11. Compliance with intellectual property laws. In addition to the prohibited uses set forth in this agreement, when accessing the website or using the services, you agree to obey the laws and respect the intellectual property rights of others. Your use of the website and services is at all times governed by subjects to the laws regarding copyright ownership and the use of intellectual properties. You agree to abide by laws regarding copyright ownership and use intellectual property. You will be solely responsible for any violations of any relevant laws and any infringements of third-party rights caused by any user submissions as defined below. You provide, transmit, or provided or transmitted using a Square Enix ID. A. Copyright. You extend to the website except user submissions as defined in Section 12, including without limitation the text, software, scripts, graphics, photos, sound, music, video, interactive features, and the like content, and the trademark services, marks, and logos contained within marks are owned or licensed by Square Enix, subject to copyright and other intellectual property rights under the United Kingdom and foreign laws, international conventions. Content on the website is provided to you as is for your information and personal use only. It may not be used, copied, reproduced, distributed, transmitted, broadcast, displayed, sold, licensed, or otherwise exploited for any other person whatsoever without the prior written consent of the respective owner. Square Enix reserves the rights, not expressly granted into in and to the website and its content. You agree to not engage in the use of copying, distributing, any of the content other than expressly permitted herein, including any use, copying, or distribution of user submitted or third parties obtained through the website for any commercial purposes. If you download or print a copy of the content for personal use, you must retain all copyrighted and other proprietary notices contained therein. You agree to not circumvent, disable, or otherwise interfere with security-related features of the website, features that prevent or restrict users copying or any of the content, or enforce limitations on the use of the website of its content. B. Copyright infringement. I might have to take a break to refill my drink here. If you are a copyright owner or an agent of a copyright owner and believe that any user submission or other content infringes upon your copyright law, you may submit a notification by providing Square Enix copyright agent with the following information in writing. A physical or electronic signature of a person's authorized to act on the behalf of the owner of an exclusive right that is allegedly infringed. 2. Identification of the copyrighted work claimed to be infringed, or if multiple copyright works at a single online site are covered by a single notification, a representative list of such works at the site. 3. Identification of material that is claimed to be infringing or to be the subject of infringing activity, and that is to be removed or access to which is to be disabled, and information reasonably sufficient to permit the service provider to locate the material. Information reasonably sufficient to permit the service provider to contact you, such as an address, telephone number, and if available, an electronic mail. 5. A statement that you have in good faith belief that the use of material in the manner complained is not authorized by the copyright law, its agent or law, and 6. A statement that the information in the notification is accurate and under the penalty of perjury, that you are authorized to act on behalf of the owner of the exclusive rights and that is allegedly infringed. For this notification to be effective, you must provide Square Enix as designated agent with a notice of claims of copyright or of intellectual property infringement to cover each, posted at Copyright Agent, Square Enix Limited, D/O Legal and Business Affairs, 240 Blackfriars Road, London, SE1 8NW. We acknowledge that if you fail to comply with all the requirements of this clause, your copyright infringement notice may not be valid. For clarity, only copyright infringement notices should go to Square Enix Copyright Agent. Any other feedback, comments, requests, or technical support, or any other communications should be directed to customer service through https://support.eu/enix.com/main.php?LA=2&ID=612. Well, user submissions. The website permits submission of materials that you post to public areas of the website's services, including, for example, your username, reviews, stories, comments, links to other websites, user submissions, your understanding that whether or not user submissions are published. Square Enix does not guarantee any confidentiality with respect to any submissions. You are solely responsible for your own user submissions, and the consequences of posting or publishing them. In connection with user submissions, you affirm, represent, or warrant that 1. You own or have the necessary license, rights, consent, permission to use and authorize Square Enix to use all patented trademarks, trade secrets, copyrights, or other proprietary rights in and to any and all user submissions to enable the inclusion and use of user submissions in the manner contemplated by the website agreement. 2. You have written consent to release and or permission of every identified individual in the user submission, use the names and likenesses of every identifiable individual, enable the inclusion and use of user submissions in the manner contemplated by the website in this agreement. For clarity, you retain all of your ownership rights in your user submission. However, by submitting the user submission to Square Enix, you hereby grant Square Enix a worldwide, non-exclusive, royalty-free, sub-licensable, and transferable license to reuse, reproduce, distribute, prepare derivative works of, display, and perform user submissions in connection with the website of Square Enix and its successors' businesses, without limitations for promoting, redistributing parts or all of the website and derivative works thereof. In any media formats through any media channels, you are also hereby grant each user of the website a non-exclusive license to access user submissions from the website and to use, reproduce, distribute, prepare derivative works of, display and perform such user submissions as permitted through the functionality of the website under this agreement. In connection with user submissions, you further agree you will not 1. Submit material that is copyrighted, protected by trade secret, or rights subject to third-party proprietary rights, including privacy and publicity rights, unless you are the owner of such rights and have permission from the rightful owner to post material to grant Square Enix all of the license rights granted within. To publish false or misrepresentations that could damage Square Enix and any third party. 3. Submit materials that are unlawful, obscene, defamatory, libellous, threatening, pornographic, harassing, hateful, racially or ethnically offensive, or encourages conduct that would be considered criminal offence. Give rise to civil liability, violate any law or otherwise inappropriate. 4. Post advertisements or solicitations of business. Or 5. Impersonate another person. Square Enix does not endorse any user submissions or any opinions, recommendations, or advice expressed therein. And Square Enix expressly disclaims any and all liability in connection to the user submissions. Square Enix does not permit copyright infringing activities, infringement of intellectual property rights on its website. Square Enix will use commercially reasonable efforts to remove all allegedly infringing content submissions in accordance with the procedures set forth in the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, which I think a lot of people say still needs updating nowadays. Square Enix reserves the right to remove content and user submissions without prior notice, and in its sole discretion, Square Enix may terminate your access to the website. If you are determined to be a repeat infringer is a user who has been notified of infringing activity more than twice, or has your user submission removed from the website more than twice. Square Enix also reserves the right to decide its sole discretion whether the content or user submissions are appropriate and in compliance with this agreement. Violations of an copyright infringement or violations of intellectual property laws, such as but not limited to pornography, obscene, defamatory material, or excessive length. Square Enix may remove such user submissions or terminate a user's access to uploading such material in violation of agreement at any time, without prior notice at its sole discretion. You understand that when using Square Enix's website, you will be exposed to user submissions from a variety of sources, and Square Enix is not responsible for the accuracy, usefulness, safety, or intellectual property rights of or relating to such user submissions. Your further understanding and acknowledge you may be exposed to user submissions that are inaccurate, offensive, indecent, or objectionable, and you agree to waive and hereby do waive any legal, equitable rights or remedies you have or may have against Square Enix with respect thereto, and agree to indemnify and hold Square Enix, its owners, employees, affiliates, licenses, and employees Square Enix, affiliates and licenses harmless to the fullest extent to allow by law regarding the matters related to your use of the website. Square Enix takes no responsibility and assumes no liability for any user submissions posted, stored, or uploaded by you or any third party to the website, and for any loss or damage thereto, and are solely responsible for creating backup copies and replacing any user submissions you post or store on the website at your sole cost and expense. 13. Use of downloadable content. Square Enix may make certain content or software available to you from the website. If you download content, applications, or software from the website, downloaded data, including all files and images contained in or generated by the software and company data, collectively downloadable content, are owned by Square Enix and licensed to you by Square Enix for your personal, non-commercial, home use only. Square Enix does not transfer you either the title, intellectual property rights to downloadable content, and Square Enix retains full and complete title to the downloadable content as well as intellectual property rights therein. You may not sell, redistribute, or reproduce the software, nor may you decompile, reverse engineer, disassemble, or otherwise convert the downloadable content to human perceivable forms. All trademarks and logos owned by Square Enix or its licensors, and you may not copy or use them in any manner except otherwise permitted by law. 14. Links and affiliated sites. This website may contain advertising and sponsorships. Advertisers and sponsors are responsible for ensuring that the material submitted for inclusion on the website is accurate and complies with applicable laws. Square Enix will not be responsible for the legality of any error or inaccuracy in advertisers or sponsors' material. Square Enix has no control over and no liability for any third-party websites or materials. Square Enix works with many partners and affiliates whose websites may be linked with the website. Square Enix makes no representations or guarantees about the accuracy, currency, content, or quality of the information provided by such websites. Square Enix assumes no responsibility for unintended, objectionable, misleading, unlawful content that may reside within those sites. Similarly, from time to time, in connection with your use of the website, you may have access to content items that are owned by third parties. You acknowledge and agree that Square Enix makes no guarantee about and assumes no responsibility for the accuracy, currency content, or quality of the third-party content, and unless expressly provided otherwise, these terms of use will govern your use of any and all third-party content on the website. Dispute amongst registered users. You are solely responsible for any disputes between you and registered users. Square Enix reserves the rights, but has no obligation to monitor or resolve disputes between registered users. 16. Choice of law and forum. We're almost done, chat. We're almost done. 16. Choice of law and forum. This website is controlled and operated by Square Enix from its offices in London, England. Square Enix makes no representation that any of its materials or services to which you have been given access to are available or appropriate for use in other locations. If you choose to access the website from outside the United Kingdom, you are responsible for compliance with foreign and local laws. Your use of or access to the website should not be construed as Square Enix purposely availing itself the benefits of the privilege of doing its business in any jurisdiction other than England and Wales. This agreement and any related disputes, claimed, contractual or non-contractual, shall be governed by and construed in accordance with English law. Each party irrevocably submits for all purposes in connection with agreements, including any such disputes or claims, the exclusive jurisdiction of the English courts, so that nothing in the agreement shall limit Square Enix's rights to bring any action against any party in every court of competent jurisdiction. Nor shall... Nor shall the bringing of such action in one or more jurisdictions preclude the bringing of any such other pertinent actions or any of jurisdiction, whether currently or not, to the extent permitted by the law of such other jurisdiction. 17. Waiver. Square Enix does not represent the materials in the website services appropriate or available for use in other countries outside the United Kingdom. If you choose to access the website from outside the United Kingdom, you are responsible for compliance with foreign and local laws. Further, certain areas of the website services are subject to age restrictions. You agree to comply with any age restrictions. Inaction or failure by Square Enix to exercise or enforce any rights or provisions of this agreement will not constitute a waiver of such right or provisions. Severability. Any provision of this agreement will be held void, invalid, inoperative by a court of law or jurisdictional judicial authorities. No other provisions of this agreement will be affected as a result thereof. And according to the remaining provisions of this agreement will remain in full force, effective through such void, invalid, inoperative provisions had not been contained therein. 19. Entirety. Might take a short BRB just after this, so I'll just top up my water and stuff. 19. Entirety. This agreement contains the entirety of the understanding between the parties with respect to the subject matter hereof, and revokes all supersedes all prior agreements between the parties as is intended as the final expression of their agreement. 20. Force majeure, I think. Square Enix will not be liable or deemed to be default for any delays or failure in performance or interruption of the website and services resulting directly or indirectly from any cause or circumstances beyond the control of Square Enix, including but not limited to acts of God, acts of public enemy, war, terrorism, accidents, fires, natural disasters, electrical fails, telephone systems, restraining orders or decrees of any court, strikes, postal delays, explosions, government orders or regulations. Ooh, that was an exciting one. Rights of third parties. A person that is not a party of the agreement has no right to enforce any provision of the agreement or under the contract's Rights of Third Parties Act 1999, otherwise. 22. Assignment. You may not assign, charge, license, or otherwise dispose of any rights you may have under this agreement without prior to consent. The agreement was last modified on the 16th of December 2014. This website is operated by Square Enix Limited, incorporated in England, Wales, company number 018041886. 240 Blackfriars Road, London, SE8NW1, England. Right, I'm going to take a quick BRB. I should probably not be longer than 3-5 minutes, so I'll see you guys in a minute. Feel free to chat amongst yourselves. See what your favourite things are about the game so far. I'm just going to disappear, so see you in a moment. I'm back, just give me a moment. Yep. Everything seems to be working. There we go. Sorry for the delay. Had to go get some more water. Where were we? Oh, damn. Even more reading. I know, like, there's 14 games and that to catch up on. Do I need this much background story? Oh, well, let's see how this one goes. General Privacy Notice. Last updated Tuesday, 23rd of May, 2023 at 2 AM. Introduction. Hi, we're Square Enix. You should probably know us from all the Square Enix, Taito, and Luminous Productions branded entertainment content we develop, publish, distribute, and license included Final Fantasy registered, Dragon Quest registered, Space Invaders registered. Oh, Space Invaders. Didn't know they were involved in this. Please take your time to read this privacy notice as it explains how we collect and use and protect your personal data. How and when we collect your personal data. The moment you begin interacting with Square Enix, we are collecting personal data. Sometimes the personal data we collect is provided by you, and sometimes it's collected automatically. You give us data when you register or update Square Enix member accounts or Square Enix accounts. Use our paid-for services, play one of our games, enter one of our tournaments, apply for a job with us, attend an interview or assessment, opt into receiving our marketing messages, subscribe to our mailing lists, call us, email us, live chat with us online, chat to us in-game, make purchases from us, enter one of our prize draws or competitions, answer one of our surveys, fill in a form, conduct a search, or post content on our website, interacting with our other users on our online services, register to attend events, follow, like, post to, or interact with our social media accounts, or apply to the Square Enix influencer on our website. We collect your data automatically when you access our web pages, interact with other users on our online services, open an email from us, begin to log into your Square Enix members or Square Enix account, play our games online, live chat with us, messages, or other users in-game to make purchases from us. Types of personal data we collect. Depending on the specific services you use and how you interact with us, we may collect various types of personal data. As further described in this section, contact details, your name, address, telephone number, and email address. Account first, profile data, your name, email address, birth date, gender, username, and password. Financial information, your bank account number, credit card details, electronic payment processor details and billing address. Information that identifies your birth date. IP address, log information, social usernames, browser type, version, time zone settings, browser plugin types, geological information, operating system, and version, cookies, Google Ad ID, Apple IDFA, and other unique device IDs. Information on how we use our website, your URL, clickstreams, the path you take through our website, products/services you view or purchase, page response times, download errors, how long you stay on our pages, what you do on those pages, and other actions. If any of you want me to start reading this in a different voice, just let me know. Information on how you purchase or use our games, services, your gaming platform, game versions, mobile, hardware identifiers, device, event information, crash reports, language, or subtitle options, game scores, game metrics, achievements, rankings, playtimes, features usage, player performance and progression, purchases, time zones, timestamps, session duration, challenges, or gifts sent to other players and numbers of friends on the platform. Survey information, any information that you provide, that you decide to provide with us when you complete one of our surveys. Employment information, only when you apply for a job role with us. Name, email, address, employment history, reference, education history, results of pre-employment screening, background checks, relevant experience, achievements, skills, qualifications, and the outcome of any interviews or tests that are part of the recruitment process. Information recorded at the live Square Enix events, photographs and videos used, information provided to us by third parties. game platform nicknames, usernames, user IDs, friends list, email address, geolocation, language, user preference, date of birth, and games you have played, mobile platform providers, and app store usernames, device IDs, purchase history, and geolocation. When you log in with your Facebook account ID, access, email address, friends playing the same game. When you link a Square Enix member or Square Enix account to a game platform account ID. Nickname, user ID, email address, and our games which you are playing. What about special categories of data? If you've been selected to participate in an accessibility-related player research group, we may ask for health data related to your accessibility needs, for the purpose of analysing accessibility as it relates to our game development. Otherwise, we do not actively collect any special categories of data about you. Data that is intended to identify your racial, ethnic origin, political opinions, religious philosophical beliefs, or trade union membership. Genetic data, biometric data, health data, or data about your sexual life or orientation, criminal offence or alleged offences. Please do not send us unsolicited or special characters data or post them anywhere on our services. What about your children's data? You must be at least 13 years old to use any of our services or games, as we do not target our games to children under 13 and do not knowingly collect any personal data from any person under 13. If you think we have unintentionally collected personal data from someone under the age of 13, please let us know by contacting us at dpo@eu.square-enix.com. Why and how we use your personal data? We will use your personal data only for certain specified reasons, and only when we have a lawful basis to do so. Which of the following reasons is applicable to you depends on the type of relationship we have with you and how we interact with you. For example, we will not use your personal data for the purpose of processing payments unless you've made or attempt to make a purchase from us. Registering your account. When you sign up to use our services or register a Square Enix account or a Square Enix membership account with us, we will use the details you provide on your account registration form, process your registration, and provide the services you've agreed to receive. In the EU and the UK, our laws are the basis for this of your use of personal data is performing our contract with you. Keeping our website and gaming services, providing you our games and services online, access to our website, login authentication, age verification, remembering your settings, processing payments, populating leaderboards, hosting and back-ended infrastructure, keeping our websites and services secure. In the EU and UK, our laws basis for this use of personal data are performing our contract with you. Comply with our legal obligations and legitimate interests to keep our services running. Sorry, I'm starting drinking from a bottle now instead of a mug, so I have to lift it higher. Enabling you to communicate with others. Certain parts of our websites and online services enable you to communicate and interact with other users. We will use this information you have provided to us to enable these interactions and communications on our websites and online services. In the EU and UK, our lawful basis for this use of personal data is performing our contract with you. I have a feeling we're going to get told a lot of that. This EU and UK characters must be important. Processing orders. We will use your information to process, accept, dispatch your orders. If your order includes physical delivery of a product, we will use information to organise and notify you of the delivery. In the EU and the UK, our lawful basis for this use of personal data is performing our contract with you. I'm going to read that line in a different voice next time. Processing payments. We will use your information to process payments for our goods and services. If your bank provides an account update service and you've registered your payment number or expiry date in our system, we may automatically update this information when it changes. What voice to do? In the EU and the UK, our lawful basis for this personal data is performing our contract with you. Oh god, and it's there again. Through cookies, clear gifts, web beacons, and tracking pixels, we will use your information to deliver relevant advertisements and offers to you, and measure the effectiveness of the advertising and offers. These technologies connect your behaviour across different websites, mobile apps, devices, and enable tailored advertising to be served to your game, web browsers, or mobile devices. Please also see our cookies notice at at https://www.www square-enix-games.com/e_gb/documents/cookies. In the UK, our lawful basis for this use of personal data is your consent. Social media. Oh yeah, it's like the one thing we can opt out of, I think. Use your information to communicate with you if you message us. Respond to our posts, like our posts, tweet or retweet us. Use or otherwise interact with us directly on social media platforms. We also analyse social media posting and trends to understand customer sentiment about the game and services. In the EU and the UK, our lawful basis for this use of personal information is our legitimate interest in promoting our brand and communicating with interested individuals. Anti-cheat, anti-tampering, fraud and unauthorised, unlawful activity detection, prevention and investigation. We use this information to provide us with information we collect about you to enforce our rules and policies, protect our customers and businesses, maintain competitive integrity of our games, and investigate response to fraudulent, unauthorised or illegal activity related to our current future services. We may use this information for machine learning behavioural predictions to detect and prevent fraudulent activities and services. In the EU, our lawful basis for the use of this personal data, our legitimate interest to operate a safe and lawful business, or where we have legal obligations to do so. Oh boy. Square Enix Press Center registration. When you register your details to join the Square Enix Press Center, we will use the information to process your application and in some cases to send you press release and assets as part of the Press Center program. In the EU and the UK, our lawful basis for the use of your personal data is our legitimate interests to recruit the most suitable influencers for our campaign. Square Enix Influencer Registration and Sustainability Monitoring. When you apply to become a Square Enix influencer through the Square Enix Partner Program, we'll use the information you provided to process your application and in some cases to contact you about your potential participation in the program. In the EU, our lawful basis for this use of your personal data is our legitimate interest to recruit the most suitable influencers for our campaigns. Community and customer support. When you use our communities or customer support, we will use your information for handling inquiries or complaints, troubleshooting, solving technical issues over live chat, phone, email and in-game chat, making necessary changes to our products, services and monitoring, your participation in our forums, and all parts of our services that allow you to publicly post information or interact with other users. In the EU and the UK, our lawful basis for this use of your personal data are performing our contract with you, our legitimate interest to provide you with customer service, and our legitimate interest in providing the correct products and services for our website users or to comply with our legal obligations. So, improving and continuing developing our games and services and websites. We carry out analytics and research on in-game data collection and related metrics to understand how our customers are playing games and the effectiveness of our marketing campaigns. We also use our information to undertake player segmentation, profiling, cheat detection, and prevention. Machine learning, we sometimes use carefully selected third parties to do this on our behalf. General management of our website's traffic, optimization and heat mapping, including through the creation of animated representations of our users' websites. In the EU and the UK, our lawful basis for this use of your personal data are performing our contract with you and our legitimate interests in learning about the type of people who are interested in our games, websites and services, to keep our games online and websites updated and relevant, and to develop our business understanding how our customers play our games and inform our marketing strategies. God damn, these EU and UK people are taking all the limelight. Recruitment. To evaluate your suitability for a role that you have applied for, we will use your information to verify your application details, academic qualifications, work experience, perform background checks, review and audit our recruitment processes and its outcomes, and identify any future employment opportunities that you may be suitable for. In the UK, our lawful basis for this use of personal data are legitimate interests to recruit new employees or contractors. Contests, prize draws and tournaments, the fun stuff. When you participate in our contests, prize draws, tournaments or other promotional events we run from time to time, should you decide to participate in them, we will use your information to process your entry, as well to communicate with you and award and send you certain rewards, either digitally or physically. You have qualified to receive them. In some cases, our promotional events may have a leaderboard. entry list or similar elements, in which in case we may display your name or other information you submitted on a publicly accessible list. Some contests, prizes, draws and tournaments will also include publicly displaying your entry in media throughout the world. In the EU and the UK, our lawful basis for this use of your personal data are your consent or contract. Live Square Enix events. When you attend or join our live events, we may photograph you or record videos in which your appearance or your voice may be recognizable. In the EU, our lawful basis for this use of your personal data are legitimate interests, as if you are a guest at the event, or a contract if you are a contestant. Digital marketing and advertisement. We will use the information provided to provide you with promotional communications and paid advertisements on our services. Oh dear. Where was I? And on third-party platforms. This includes using your personal data for matching your data across our website, games and services to measure the effectiveness of the marketing campaigns, profiling and segmentation, and tailor promotional communications and paid advertisements to those of which are more likely to be interested. We also use machine learning to predict the effectiveness of digital marketing campaigns for our customers and to tailor campaigns. Oh, tailor, is that like a job role in this game? And digital marketing communications, including through purchase history and gameplay behavioral analysis. In the UK, our lawful basis for this use of your personal data is our legitimate interests to provide you with marketing communications where we may lawfully do so. Direct marketing. Where you have consented, we will use your information to send you communications about our services, products, and features that you have agreed to receive directly via email. We also use machine learning to predict the effectiveness of direct marketing campaigns for our customers and to tailor campaigns and direct marketing communications, including through purchase history and gameplay behavioral analysis. In the EU, our lawful basis for this use of personal data is your consent. Health apps. Some of our mobile games have the ability to use your device's health app, Apple Health Kit for Apple devices, Google Fit for Android devices, or its equivalent, in order to process your fitness activity in the game. Where you have chosen to connect your device's health app to one of our games, we use the data obtained from your device's health app only for the purpose of providing health management, movement, or exercise service in connection with the specific game. We do not collect data through the device's health app for marketing or advertisement purposes, and our users' use and transfer of information received from Google's API or any of your app will adhere to Google API service device policy at https://developers.google.com/terms/API-services-user-data-policy #additional requirements_for specific API_scopes, including the limited use requirements. Oh dear. This drink doesn't taste great. It's flavoured water, but it's a suggestion of flavour at this rate. We will only collect the health data you give us permission to collect, and will always be in control of this data collection. We cannot use your device's help app without your specific consent. You can withdraw consent to this data collection at any time in your device's health app settings. In the EU and the UK, our lawful basis for using this personal data is your consent. What's the different lawful bases mean? This section actually explains lawful bases, and we are reliant on processing your personal data. What we rely on. This section explains what lawful bases we rely on for processing your personal data actually mean. Oh, we're getting the terminology now, chat. These are terms that you're gonna have to remember for in-game. Consent. You'll provide a clear and unambiguous consent for us to process your personal data for a specific purpose. You have the right to withdraw this consent at any time. Contract. We need to process your personal data for us to fulfill our contractual relationships with you. Legitimate interests. We need to process your personal data for legitimate interests, or the legitimate interest of a third party in conducting and managing our business and our relationship with you. When we use your personal data for legitimate interests, we try and take into account any potential impact that such use may have on you. Legal obligation. We have legal obligation on applicable law to process your personal data. Keeping your personal data secure. We treat your personal data with care. and take responsibilities to protect it, including the use of physical, technical, and administrative safeguards to protect your personal data from unauthorized access or use. For this reason, we secure access to all transactional areas of our websites and apps, restrict access to your personal data, and secure and tokenize transactions information, and regularly monitor our systems for possible vulnerabilities and attacks. If you believe your personal data has been breached, please contact us immediately at dpo@eu.square-enix.com. Who we share our personal data with. Who do you share yours with, chat? I tend to keep mine to myself. Depending on the purpose for which we would collect your personal data or the nature of our interaction with you, we may use third parties to process some of your personal data. For example, we engage third parties to process information about your purchase and use of our games. We require that these third parties only use information they need to perform specific services as specified in our contract with them. If we stop using any third parties' services, we require your personal data held by them is either securely and permanently deleted or rendered irreversibly anomalous. In all cases, we apply measures to keep your data safe and privacy protected. We share your personal data with third-party IT companies who support our website, online services and other business systems, payment service providers who process your payments for goods, services, fraud detection, investigation, prevention, and companies who help us detect and investigate and prevent cheating, abuse, fraud, tampering, or other unauthorized use, disclosure of non-public information about our current and future services, and direct marketing companies who help us manage our electronic communications with you. When you have ordered products to be delivered to you, we will share your information with selected third-party warehouses to delivery partners. We only share the information necessary to organize and fulfill your order. You may share your personal data with Google, Facebook, and other third-party advertising partners, so you can show your products and services that might be of interest to you while you're on the social media platform and browsing the internet. Or while playing our mobile games. For example, if you provide us with your email address, we may share it with Facebook, so you can receive a tailored advertising from us when you use Facebook, and so that other users of Facebook who share similar interests to you can also receive tailored advertising from us. This is based on your consent to the marketing of our legitimate interests, provide you with marketing communications where we may lawfully do so. Oh dear. Under very specific circumstances, we will share your personal going full on English, your personal data with third parties, including law enforcement, in order to respond to investigate fraudulent, unauthorized, or criminal, or potentially fraudulent, unauthorized, or criminal activity on or related to our systems, services, or events, including authorized disclosure of non-public information related to current or future services. We may also be required by law to disclose your personal information to the police or another law enforcement regulatory or government body in your country of origin or elsewhere. On receiving a legally valid request to do so, we may also be required by law to disclose your personal data to third parties in response to a court order, subpoena, or other compulsory processes. Cookies. Delicious. We use cookies and similar technologies for analytics to allow our services to operate effectively, to enhance your experience when using our services, and to bring you relevant advertising. Please have a look at our cookies notification at https://www.square-enix-games.com/en_gb/documents/cookies for more information. Where your personal data is processed. We are a global organization, so sometimes we need to share your personal data with our other officers or with our third parties and suppliers who are located outside the European Economic Area, the EEA. When it is necessary for us to transfer personal data out of the EEA and or the UK, we will do so when the transfer is authorized under applicable law, including when the transfer is made to a country the European Commission has deemed to have adequate data protection laws, is governed by the standard contractual clauses. The European Commission standard contractual clauses for the transfer of personal data to third countries. https://ec.europea.eu/info/law/topic/law-topic/data-protection /data-transfer-EU/model-contracts-countries_EN for data transfers between EU and non-EU countries authorized by another recognized transfer mechanism under applicable law. For transfers to our offices in the US, we do so under standard contractual clauses. How long will hold your data for? I like to hold people for about 5 seconds. If you hold people for longer than 7 seconds, it starts to get uncomfortable. At least that's what they say. We will retain your personal data for as long as you are a customer or are using our services, and no longer than is necessary after that. We will securely destroy or irreversibly anonymize your personal data once it is no longer necessary for us to retain it. Your rights over personal data. This section describes the various rights you have over your personal data under the General Data Protection Regulation Act, Regulation EU 2016/679 of the European Parliament and the Council's of 27th of April 2016. UK Data Protection Act 2018, and how you can invoke these rights with us, and where you can find more details about these rights. Your rights of access. You have the right to request copies of your personal data. This right always applies, however, there are some exemptions, which means you may not always receive all the personal data you request. Your right to rectification. You have the right to request that we rectify your information that you think is accurate, or complete information that you think is incomplete. This right is always applied. You have the right to erasure. You have the right to request that we erase your personal data in certain circumstances. Your right to restriction of processing. You have the right to request that we restrict the processing of personal in certain circumstances. You have the right to object processing. You have the right to object us processing your personal data under certain circumstances, including when we do so based on your legitimate interests. Your right to data portability. You have the right to request that we transfer your personal data to another organization, although we provide a copy of it to you. This right applies only to personal data you have given us, and that we are processing based on your consent or a contract with you. You are not required to pay for any charge of these for exercising these rights. To exercise your rights above on any of the rights available to you under the applicable law, please email us at dsar@eu.square-enix.com. Write to us at FAO Data Protection Officers, Square Enix Limited, 240 Blackfriars Road, London, UK, SE1 8NW. Customers in the EU or the UK may also lodge a complaint regarding our uses of your personal data. If you have such a complaint, we ask that you please tell us first so we have a chance to look into your concerns. If you remain unsatisfied, you can contact the local survey authority or information commissioner's office at their website at www.ico.org.uk/make-a-complaint or https. I think that's the same actually. Yeah, it is. It's just with the secure thingy. Data Protection Officer. We have appointed Data Protection Officer for you to contact if you have any questions or concerns about your personal data. A Data Protection Officer can be contacted at the dpo@eu-square-enix.com or by writing to FAO Data Protection Officer, Square Enix Limited, 240 Blackfriars Road, London, UK, SE8NW. Changes and updates to our privacy notice. As our services and products change from time to time, you should expect this privacy notice to change as well. We reserve the right to amend this privacy notice at any time, for any reason, and we will make all reasonable endeavours to notify you of any changes. We may also email periodic reminders of this privacy notice, and email customers who have registered Square Enix accounts or Square Enix members accounts of any material change to this privacy notice. Nevertheless, you should check irregularly to see if the privacy notice that is in effect has any changes made to it. Any questions? Yes, any questions? You've made it to the end. We hope you've enjoyed reading this privacy notice. We commend you on your dedication to understanding how we handle your personal data and your right to control it. This privacy notice has answered all your questions. You may have any comments or ideas about how we have this privacy notice even better. Please don't hesitate to contact us at our DPO at below at dpo@eu.square-enix.com or in writing at FAO Data Protection Officer, Square Enix Limited, 240 Blackfriars Road, London, UK, SE1 8NW. Oh, alright. I think we're all caught up on this law. Right, you guys can't see this. Hang on. I'm gonna have to close this for a moment. Oh, we're always here to suffer. Right. Give me a moment. I think I might have found my password. Right, we are in chat. Oh, do you know what? I think after reading all that lore, do you know, I don't think this game's for me actually. Oh well. Hope you guys had a nice stream. We'll see you guys elsewhere. Let's see if there's anyone to raid though. There we go, we'll raid Killer 6. If anyone likes Borderlands content, this is one of the people to go to. So... oh, hang on, I might need to extend this thing. Yeah, I don't think this game's for me, chat. So let's all go say hi to someone else. See you on the other side.